In today's video, I'm going to outline a plan that handles your marketing if you're a home builder or contractor. A contractor specifically around larger ticket purchases of $20,000 and more. Not only that, today I'm going to incorporate strategies that will allow you to continue your lead generation efforts and the ability to close deals, albeit interest rates are rising. So interest rates have risen in the United States, Australia, Canada, and so on and so forth. Reports from Forbes, Bloomberg, etc. are all stating that demand for home builders is already starting to decrease. The number of permits for new home builds in the United States is already on the decrease, and this will continue with most likely interest rate rises continue to happen. Now, this is both good and bad news. The bad news is, yes, it's going to be more difficult to generate leads. The good news is, this is going to separate the men from the boys. The people that have a plan in place, they've got their marketing dialed in, they've got their follow-up funnels, they've got all their cold outreach traffic sources dialed in. These are the guys that are going to hammer home, keep a constant amount of leads coming in for their salespeople and or themselves if you're the one closing deals, and you're going to be able to close deals. So, albeit it's going to be harder to close deals, because you've got your pipeline full of prospects, it's going to be much, much easier. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what I've set up for my clients, because I had experience with the GSE through 07 and 09, and I'm able to take what I learned from there, and also all the time that I've covered over the last decade and a bit working with contractors and home builders. And I'm going to show you exactly the plan that will keep lead generation high for my clients and also their ability to close deals. I'm going to show you what's happening and all the subtle nuances that goes into that to ensure that you can replicate this model for yourself. With that being said, let's jump over to my computer and we'll have a look at the plan and all the subtle aspects of it so you can implement it yourself. Okay, so here we are at my computer, and first things being first, the best thing that you can do to improve your marketing is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and smash that like button. It does help you because you'll get updates on when I'm releasing hopefully what you deem is great content, but it also helps me rank videos a little bit better and get me a few more views within the YouTube rankings and algorithm, which makes me feel a bit better because it being introverted, it's very difficult to do these videos. But nonetheless, let's have a look at the plan. So this is a really simplified version of what I'm implementing for clients in order to keep this video hopefully less than 45 minutes. We'll see how we go on that. So the plan is traffic is agnostic. I don't care where traffic comes from for my clients, whether you're a home builder, contractor, no matter what type of contractor you are. I don't care if it's Google Ads or Google AdWords, as I've phrased it here in the old terminology, Facebook ads, or search engine optimization, including Google My Business, your G&B listing. Now, throughout the video, I'm going to touch upon each of the aspects of this plan. I'm going to touch upon Google Ads, Facebook, and SEO, all in their subtle nuances that come along with each of those traffic sources. I'm going to talk about your website. How can you improve your website in terms of conversion? Because the people that win this home builder and contractor game are the guys with the best conversion rate, be it from traffic source to landing page to sales, follow-up, close the deal. The people that have all that dialed in, they're the ones that win this game because they can spend more on traffic, so they can price everyone out of the market. They can also charge better prices or higher prices because they have so many more leads coming through because they have everything dialed in. So I'm going to show you, essentially this plan is about optimization, getting everything you can out of everything you're doing. So not necessarily spending more money, but getting a better return. So I'm going to dig into what should happen when you get traffic but doesn't become a lead, what happens when you do get a lead. I'm going to target also how you should be targeting people, the types of ads you can run, the type of offers you can run, how you can set up your retargeting as well, the email automation sequences, text message follow-up, so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's get deeper into the tactics and the strategies. So first, we're starting with search engine optimization. Now, with this slide here, we're going to target on page. Now, this might seem boring, but you have to get this done. Getting this done allows Google to get contextual relevancy so they know what the web page is about. I say web page and not website because each page has to be done specifically. Now, the first thing you have to do is set up the Google Search Console. It will give you the most accurate analysis of where you are with your website. Are you ranking well for the phrases that you want to rank? And do they get search impressions? Now, when I say getting everything you possibly can, everything that you're doing or everything that you've got, the Google Search Console comes in really strongly here because it allows you to say, well, I'm ranking for this particular keyword phrase for you. You could be in position 20 to 100. It gets thousands of impressions per month, but you're not ranking. Well, this could be potentially low effort, but high yield. You don't know that without the Google Search Console. So this is all about picking low-hanging fruit that is pretty much sprinkled with gold flakes. It's really, really powerful and underutilized within the majority of people that I speak to every week and the amount of new people that I work with every month. Next is Google Analytics. It has become a bit of a pain in the backside. There's now Google Analytics 4 and Google Analytics Universal. Universal is the old version. GA4 is the new version. You have to set both up now because Universal is going to become redundant come this time next year, or a little bit earlier than this time next year. So with that being said, it allows you to see the performance of your web pages. Are they converting at a good enough conversion rate to substantiate more investment into traffic sources, allowing you to generate more leads, hand them off to either yourself or your salespeople, and that festers that kind of growth that you're probably desiring. It also allows you to keep that pipeline full because times are going to get hard, as we've mentioned about the interest rates. You can also use the Google Ads Keyword Planner to find keywords that you want to rank for in regards to search engine optimization. With that all being said, without any bullshit being said, most people know exactly what phrases they should be ranking for. There's no real expertise that comes into this. Like if you're a kitchen remodeler or kitchen renovator kind of thing, it's kitchen renovation, your city. That is going to be the primary phrase. Home builder, your city, your location. There are some subtle variations where, you do get really good in search impressions and you do get really desirable prospect coming in. But by and large, you don't have to overthink this too much. The next portion though, on-page search engine optimization elements to optimize is really important. So keywords, so the keyword that you want to rank for that particular page, you want that in the URL. You want shorter URLs if possible. You want the keyword in the title tag. And if none of this stuff makes sense to you, don't worry. This is the kind of thing that you need to talk to your SEO professional or to your web developer. They should be able to have the capacity to handle this portion of search engine optimization at the very least, in my opinion. You also want to use the keyword, once or maybe twice in the first 100 to 150 words. Remember, this is not about shoving the keyword in as many times as you can. This is about just less is more in this department. So the next one is like keywords in the H1, H6 tags. These are just sub-headlines. So when you see like a paragraph of text and above it there's a headline, that's usually an H1 to H6. H1 is top priority, H6 is the lowest priority, and you prioritize content. It just helps Google get contextual relevancy about what the page is about. Optimize your images. Large images suck. They slow down the page speed, which means that Google is now looking at analyzing pages through mobile first. Mobiles or cell phones generally load pages a little bit slower. So if you have larger images, you're going to get penalized. It's going to be a slower speed. You're going to get worse engagement. Google's going to look at you from a slightly more negative perspective, and you're just not going to have good time. Next is site speed. So if you just Google page speed insights, put in some of your most traffic pages individually. You have to run this report each time. See how your pages perform. If they're below 70 for desktop and below 50 for mobile or cell phone, you probably need to work on them. So there is the law of diminishing results. Getting 100 out of 100 is not worthwhile. Not even Google's homepage when it's just a little search bar and just a couple of links up the top and down the bottom, etc., and a little logo. Doesn't get 100 out of 100. So it's trying to get everything you can with a moderate amount of effort here, not as much as you can there. So the next part is internal linking. So think of internal links like roads. So each link is a road and it connects the pages throughout your website. So you want to do that as much as possible because it allows like the search engine optimization power kind of thing. And we'll refer to that a little bit more in more depth in just a moment, to flow a little bit through those roads onto all the pages of your website. If you don't have links, pages are kind of isolated. So it's a little bit like having a house with no road connected to the town. So it sucks really. So that covers the on-page stuff. Let's move on. So link building. Link building is really important. It's links are what probably make up 80% of this game of search engine optimization. Links are like you're going for the prime ministership or you're in the presidential race for your country. They act like votes. The more links that you have or the more votes that you have, the higher you move up the popularity ranking that is the Google search results. Now, all links aren't equal in this world. Now, links from a well-established authoritative website are much more valuable than a link from a less valuable website. So a link from NASA is much more valuable than a link from a little cupcake blog that gets 2 visitors per month kind of thing. There's some really quick ways to get links. If you sponsor an event or a charity or anything like that, it could be your one of your kids' sporting clubs or teams, ask for a link just back to the website kind of thing, or from that organization. They're generally more than happy to do it, and you're generally sponsoring that event for some goodwill. And this is just a little bit of icing on the cake that will help you with your rankings within Google. The next one is guest posts. This is a fair bit of legwork. You've got to outreach, contact the person who owns the website, you've got to write an article. Essentially, you're exchanging information, aka a blog post, to put on another website that's related, so like industry-related website, and they link back to you, generally through an author bio. It sucks a little bit, to be honest, but you can yield very good links, and this is the type of stuff that I do for my clients. It is a bit more difficult if you're trying to do this yourself, because you've got to handle everything that you do day to day as being a home builder or a contractor, and also do this. It's not pretty. Another one is reaching out to local journalists. So if you have like a local newspaper, maybe not newspaper now, but aging myself a little bit there, but if you've got like newspapers now online, so I'll just run with newspapers. But if you have a local journalist and they're writing a piece, contact them, offer an opinion, offer a quote, offer a perspective. You can even reach out to a journalist and pitch an idea for an article, and you can be essentially like the central figure, or maybe not the central figure, but you could offer the expert a piece of advice, the expert opinion based around that central theme or idea of the piece. Journalists are generally really happy to do it as long as your idea isn't boring kind of thing. So, with interest rates rising, it could be an interesting piece about, how can homeowners factor in interest rate rises into their new home build or into their whatever service around contracting that you offer. Generally, topical things do really well. And there are plenty of services that just do link building for a fee, of course. So essentially, it's generally, if you find a good service, it can be decent. There are a lot of snake oil salesmen in this link building world, and a lot of shady nuances happen. So be very careful if you are reaching out for a service, but it is a great way to pay someone and just get it done. When it comes to Google My Business, it is a really big factor in terms of generating leads. I generally put a fair bit of effort into this because it has the ability to generate tons of leads that are geographically specific, because that is the nature of the G&B listing. So relevancy is really important. So, for a bit of fun, if you were a landscaper, you're not going to show up for kitchen remodeling. Kitchen remodeling businesses are going to show up for kitchen remodeling stuff. So, that's usually pretty obvious. But if you offer a wide range of contracting services, you need to understand that you have to have everything in the right place in order to have your G&B listing show for each of your services. If you're a contractor or a home builder, it's a contractor that just has one service or two services, much easier for you. If you're a home builder, it's obviously very simple. You're just a home builder. I don't mean just a home builder, but you just have one service kind of thing, albeit in a very large service. The next important aspect is prominence. So how well known your business is a factor in the ranking. So this can be in terms of citations. So having directory listings created upon online directories, citations, the technical aspect as it's referred to, are really important. Also, like the reviews, it's just being like well known. Like people that are well known, generally you can say like they must be decent at some level at the thing that they do. Next is proximity. So the distance. If you're 50 miles away from the person making a search query, it's very unlikely, unless you live in a rural area, that you're going to show up. So not much you can do about the geographical nature of proximity, unless you want to create a new headquarters or get a local address. PO box will not work, but it's the final piece of the puzzle here for the G&B listing. So I've kind of covered how to improve rankings, but making sure you have all your social accounts up and they're well filled out. Citations, those kind of like directories, so making sure that you have links on other people's websites, phone numbers, addresses, name of the business, so on and so forth. You can look up how to build citations. Again, the citation services, be very careful with them. There's some subtle nuances and snake oil salesmen out there as well, because it is a lucrative industry that doesn't have any licenses or qualifications, very much like the link building. That always attracts sleazy kind of snake oil people, and it's not a lot of fun to deal with those problems when you deal with someone who is bad at their job. It's like contracting. Trying to fix contracting work sucks, and so does this. But G&B contract, make sure that you've got all of your profile for your G&B listing as complete as possible, and try and keyword optimize it a little bit. Again, less is more. So moving through to Google Ads. Now, I love Google Ads. I love Facebook ads as well. Google Ads is a bit more nearer and dearer to my heart because I've been using it for well over a decade, and I'll probably get close to that with Facebook ads as well. But I started using Google Ads first, but nonetheless. So the first thing is a planning. What service are you selling? So if you're a contractor and you have multiple services, you need to iron them out individually and be very strict on individually. If you're a home builder, it's a bit different for you. You might have a couple of different style campaigns around the types of homes, the areas, so on and so forth. But you need to be very specific about what you're selling. The next is who you're selling to. Define exactly who you are and what they want from your service. People do not do this enough. So if you're higher end, you speak to the higher end. If you're middle market, you speak to the middle of your market. Do not try and cater for everyone. It is a recipe for disaster, and it makes your marketing so poor. So with that being said, you also want to define what is the maximum you're willing to pay for a lead. You need to know your numbers. So what is the average number of leads it takes you to close a deal? And in my experience of doing this for 10 plus years with contractors and home builders, etc., do not use your gut for this as much as you might be doing the math in your mind right now. Don't use your gut. Get into your CRM or get into your Google Sheet and just do the numbers for the last couple of months. You might be surprised that you are better or worse. It doesn't matter, but you need to be working with accurate numbers. So a really quick equation here. You can do that yourself if you want to pause the video, crunch out your another potential way of calculating your max cost per lead. Next is your budget, your testing budget. Now, if your cost per lead is under the above equation, you should not have a budget. The exception is fulfillment and scalability. So essentially, when leads are coming in at a cost that you're really happy with, don't worry about a budget. The budget constraint is that I want to get as many leads as I can get, but still fulfill for XYZ price or less, right? So I've got home builders that are more than 6 months booked in advance. Some are well over 12 months, right? They're not even taking new clients, and they're charging consultations for like large consultation fees for the initial phone call, right? And that's helped to stave off the lead generation efforts, and like it allows us a new source of revenue, and really like easy revenue in a sense, but it also allows us to scale down the lead generation. I know, which is contradictory to what all this video is about, but some people, because they are filled for so many months or almost 12 months or 12 months plus, they don't want too many more leads coming in. So they're trying to disincentivize. And that's what some of my clients have started to do, and for good reason. If you can't fulfill them, don't get them. There is another option: sell the leads to like kind of like a competitor, which can be useful as another revenue source. And the last thing on this list is really important: your offer. Now, the offer is one of the biggest levers that you have in order to improve your marketing. And I'll speak more about offers a bit later, but it is really important. Okay, when it comes to structure, this is the biggest problem that I see with Google Ad accounts. And I'm looking at probably half a dozen at least every week from people that reach out that just want to have a free chat about their marketing. And if you want to do that, feel free to reach out in the description of this video below, and we can do that for free. And I go through Facebook ads, Google ads, etc. But at the campaign level, this is where you need to like theme out the services. So each service has its own campaign. So for this example, it's just a home builder. We're just keeping this like really neat and tidy. Now, location, it can be either country or local area. Generally, it's going to be local geographical area. Even if you're a home builder or a contractor with multiple locations in multiple states, you want to set up different campaigns for each geographical region, because they will all have different behaviors, competitors, and they're just completely separate environments. Now, the bidding is a tricky one. If you've got all your conversion tracking set up, you can run max conversions. If you're just getting into Google Ads, start with manual CPC with enhanced bidding, and just so you've got better control, and then you can scale up once you've got approximately got between 30 and 50 conversions over a 30-day period. I prefer 50, gives more data back to the algorithm. It'll help optimize. You can move to max conversions and you will do a lot better. Now, within the service though, so like we've got this campaign here. Now we've got the ad groups. The ad groups are almost like the niches within the service. So we've got custom home builder near me, and then we've got a different style of ad group called a DSA. which is dynamic search ads, and it mops up everything that isn't in traditional search, and I'll talk about in just a moment. So custom home builder and custom home builder near me are slightly different. You might want to create different ads for those different phrases, albeit very similar. So a better variation would be custom home builder or luxury custom home builder, right? Then you could speak to them completely different within the ad text, hence why you want to split them up. So the keywords become different. The negatives are really important as well, because if you've got, like, say, luxury home builder here and custom home builder, you don't want luxury phrases showing up in the custom home builder ad group, right? Because you've got better ads written in this ad group over here that is about luxury homes, right? So you'll get a better click rate, lower CPC. You might go to a luxury landing page as well, which will have a better conversion rate, the whole thing. So you're squeezing as much out of your Google Ads campaigns as you possibly can, get everything you can out of everything you've got. Negatives are really nasty. So like with home builders and contractors, you'll get a lot of software, CRM stuff, job career stuff. You'll get just a whole plethora of different things, like toilet stuff. You'll get accessory stuff. You need to be paying very close attention. This is all wasted spend. Google's really happy to take your money, and you don't want to give it to them, in my opinion. You only want to give it to them when it fits the criteria. So when someone searches for a service that you offer, they have good intent, that's when you want to spend money. For everything else, save your money. Keep it in your pocket. It's better held there than it is in Google's pockets. The DSA is a really good campaign that I don't see many people running. So it can be used in a couple of different ways. So it can be used behaviorally, and that is all the people that visit your landing pages that do not become a lead. You can use DSA when they come back to Google and they make a search query that's related or semi-related to the services that you offer. Because they've already had a touch point, they're more likely to see you, more likely to click on you, more likely to convert. So it's very much a constant touch point. So it's really important to have a DSA campaign, in my opinion, because it is low effort, high yield, low spend, high yield too, which is really, really nice. So I recommend having that. You can also have it just generically as well. So there's no behavioral component. It allows you to broaden kind of like the net that you're casting in terms of this fishing expedition that is Google Ads. So your ad groups that are set up in the traditional sense are really we're spear fishing in a bucket. Really, really simple. We're getting really big fat fish. Whereas the DSA campaign, on the other hand, is a much more broader sense. We can still get those big fish, but they're a little bit harder because we're now fishing in a large ocean as opposed to spear fishing in a bucket. So just here we've got a little bit of an error on my behalf, and I apologize for that. We should have 2 RSAs now. RSAs are then a whole separate video, but you should have 2 different ads in your ad group. RSAs are much more complicated now than they used to be with expanded text ads or ETAs, but you want 2 different ads because it allows you to test different themes of ads, different offers, etc. And it's really, really important in order to squeeze everything you can out of everything that you're doing. The same for DSA. Now, when it comes to audiences, you can have retargeting all set up here. If you want, you can dig in and pause the video and just read a bit more about this, but there's a whole ton that you can do with behavioral stuff and intent stuff that will allow you to get even more out of what you're doing. But again, that's probably a whole separate video in and of itself. So let's move on. Now, moving on to Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads is really interesting because a lot of people are complaining that it's not working very well, and that's true because they don't know how to do it. To be brutally honest, people I think are having trouble with just the whole world of Facebook ads, from the conversion tracking, the offers that they need to be running, the styles of ads that they need to be running. It is in some sense a much more complicated beast than Google Ads. Google Ads is probably technically more challenging, but the psychology of Facebook ads is much more complicated. And I'm going to answer the complication question for you in this next little section or couple of sections. So your instant forms and your landing pages, which one should you use? Start with instant forms. Instant forms will work much better because essentially the conversion tracking happens on Facebook. It's much more accurate, and you can then scale much more easily. You can also evaluate audiences and ads much better. Add qualification questions to your instant forms because it'll allow you to pre-qualify people out, and it also acts as a barrier to get rid of the people that are just crazy and submit forms for no reason, and they say that I wasn't interested and I didn't even submit a form, and those crazy lunatics that I have no idea what they're thinking. But that's the reason That's the reason to use instant forms. And I cannot stress enough, use qualification questions. Landing pages need to be used, I think, once you get your audiences and ads dialed in. It gives you a lot more creativity, a lot more power, and a lot more control of the message that you deliver to the prospect, which will allow you to, at many times, get a better style of prospect, and at some level, depending upon what you sell and how you sell it, to get you more leads as well. So generally, when quality is an issue, landing pages can help fix that when done correctly. But again, those are probably the subtle variations, and the timeline is instant forms first, then landing pages. So what's your offer? Now, this is the next important part, because I think people get this wrong. So all the retargeting stuff is around lead magnets, so the 8 mistakes to renovating your bathroom. The most expensive home builds in XYZ area can be great lead magnets. The person has to give their email in order to get that information, and then you put them into an email nurturing system, which I'll show you the outline of that in a few moments' time. And that will nurture leads and create really, really nice, hot, qualified leads for you and dump them straight into your pipeline, which is really, really nice. A lead offer, though, is pretty much as it says. It's, submit for a consultation, schedule free, online consultation, and or schedule a free face-to-face, measure and quote, so on and so forth. So that one's much more transparent. But there's other styles of offers too, like a quiz, like price up your own kitchen remodeling, price up your own bathroom remodeling, like kind of quote kind of thing. And then you can get leads from that. They can also go into an email automation sequence. I'm doing this for clients, and I've already got like templates for a lot of different styles of contractors and home builders that produces really, really nice results. And it's pretty easy to plug in. I say pretty easy because everyone's a little bit different and prices are a little bit different. But essentially, we do a handful of these every month for new clients, only because I don't take on any more than a handful of new clients per month. But there's plenty of different styles of offers that can work really well for you as a home builder or a contractor. When it comes to audiences, lookalikes, custom audiences, and interests are the go-to when it comes to audiences. Lookalikes, based upon custom audiences. Custom audiences, you give lead data, so all your customer information to Facebook. They analyze the psychographics, the behavioral traits, demographics, so on and so forth of those people, and they allows you to target those people. Now, if you already close a deal with them, not really all that useful, but then Facebook will create a lookalike. And it's just what it sounds like. They just model the people and find all the people that are just like the people that you've worked with in the past in your geographical area that don't know you yet or haven't worked with you yet. You can show them ads. Super powerful. Interests work really well too. There's a couple of really good interests that work for home builders. For every contractor, there's a handful of interests that work particularly well, and it's just about finding them and drilling down on them, and offering them the right either lead offer or lead magnet or quiz style and whatever offer, and it's just a recipe for success. Next is imagery around creatives and video. So imagery is really important. You want really good photography done. I cannot stress this enough. You also have to make sure that your imagery doesn't look like stock photography as well. So people are very skeptical in this industry. So you can be standing in it with your branded T-shirt in it, etc. Or you could have the couple that you've done work for, or the singular person that you've done work for in the image as well. That helps stave off some of that skepticism around the photography that you may have. Video is much more complicated. Many contractors and home builders, I think, create the wrong style of video, and I'm going to actually get into a little bit of depth about the video in this video. But again, to get into the really deep strategic thinking around video, I probably need to have a video just on that in and of itself. And if you are interested in that, please drop a comment in this comment section below. But some of the typical really good videos are around process, demonstration, testimonials, stories. So stories can come from your own story as the face of the business. It can be also the story of customers in the way of testimonials and reviews and whatnot, all encompassing before and afters. Before and afters come in with imagery as well. Before and afters are king within the contractor world. And for home builders, it's very much the end product. So the end product being very good photography about a very polished new home being built, and also coupling that with a great story, and the story being that of the clientele. The next really important part is installation of the conversion pixel and also the conversion API. So just with the iOS 14, 15 update with Apple, if you don't have this stuff sorted out, you're going to have a really, really nasty time with Facebook. And hence where I think that's where a lot of people are saying that Facebook doesn't work. It's because they don't have this stuff set up, the conversion tracking set up. And they also do very poorly with audience selection. The offer's terrible and the creatives, suck too. Not to be too harsh, but it's the same recipe every time. These 4 things, get them right, you'll do all right. Do them well, you'll do incredibly well. So just to really quickly touch upon instant forms or landing pages, I pretty much covered which one you should be using and when and how and whatnot. But just with Facebook instant forms, add pre-qualifying questions. How are you financing your project could be one. How many windows do you want to replace? What do you like about your current kitchen? These are some of the questions that you can use in order to help pre-qualify people. And I'll just try to use a range of different style of questions because the people that watch my videos range from really top tier home builders to people that are just starting out into their contracting journey kind of thing. So hopefully that gives you some insight into what style of questions and how you can get better responses from your instant forms. So moving through to lead magnets, I think this is one where people have a lot of trouble. So I've got a home builder checklist that can be loosely modified depending upon who I'm working with. It's usually like 80, maybe 90% of it's already done. It's the offer, so it's a great offer to get people that are considering home building or they're very close to making a decision, which is really, really nice. So yeah, I've already got that prefabbed and I recommend putting one together because it does work really well. Ties into an email automation sequence, which we'll touch upon as I've already mentioned. The most expensive build in your geographic area can be a bit tricky to put together. There are some tricks, but people are really interested in it. It doesn't produce as many good leads, in my opinion, as the checklist, or as I should say, not my opinion, but the data suggests, but it's still pretty good. The 7 mistakes people make when building or renovating or whatever you are as a contractor can work particularly well as well. It's a little bit easier to put together than trying to find the most expensive builds. The checklist, I think it's a little bit easier than the checklist, but each to their own. Again, all this is just tying into an email automation sequence to nurture those people into becoming a lead for you. Now, with that said, the next one is how to hire a home builder. Pretty obvious questions and signs to look for. How do you vet a home builder? How do you vet whatever kind of contractor you are? And lastly, I spoke about quizzes. Quizzes are really, really cool. A bit difficult to set up, but depending upon how complex the quiz is, they can be kind of simple to set up, in fact, but if you want to price something out, much more complicated, but a lot more fun and a lot more interesting, a lot more engaging, a lot more leads come through too. And I think I haven't got the data on this because we've been doing this for maybe 6 months, maybe. So, and I haven't just retrospectively calculated, but I think quizzes are probably the best performer out of the ones I've got listed here. So most of the time I have multiple running for each client, and I suggest that you do too. So just a little bit more information about custom audiences and what they are. So as I mentioned, it's really targeting with a combination of owned and paid for data. So it's you supply Facebook with either email addresses, phone numbers, etc., and the names of people. You can also use pages viewed, an app activity if you have an app, and Facebook overlays that with their data, so like age, interest, site activity, connections, all behavioral stuff. And essentially, the intersection here between the two circles is where you're targeting the real sweet spot. So it's a really good style of targeting, and I highly recommend it. And then once you've got your custom audiences, you build lookalikes. And so it's just from your customer information, Facebook matches it, and then they create lookalikes. It's a pretty simple process. It literally takes only about 20 minutes, depending upon the size of customer information that you give. It could be substantially less than that, in fact, if you're only handing over less than 1,000 or two prospecting list of prospect information. So here's a couple of Facebook ad examples. So generally, it's really good finished product for homes and stuff. So you can have a look at the text pause here and just have a quick look. These are videos, so like testimonial videos. The person's telling the story. You want to script these out for people because generally people aren't too comfortable speaking on camera. So you script it out much better. And this is purely just an offer, not too far away from me actually. Coogie's down in Sydney, so it's not too far away from me, interestingly enough. But again, this is just about like the different style of ads that you can run. So this is like carousel video, this is static imagery, and there's a whole host of ways that you can play with this cat in terms of your ad creatives. you want better advice around ad creatives, the best way to go about it is to go to the Facebook ads library, type that into Google, and just type in home builder, type in kitchen remodeling. You'll find a crazy amount of ads that you can get inspiration from, essentially learn from and implement yourself. Don't directly steal, of course, but it's a great source of inspiration and motivation too, because you'll see people running ads for a long time because they're being very successful. Okay, a quick checklist for a very good video to a cold audience for Facebook and or YouTube for that matter. So I'm not going to speak too much about YouTube in this video, but YouTube does some really cool things and can generate some really, really nice leads at a crazy low cost per lead, in fact. But so it's a quick 14-point checklist. So call out prospects. So, are you looking for your luxury forever home? Are you looking to update your, outdated kitchen kind of thing? That is a great way to start the video, or offer a big promise with a time limitation. Next, you need to establish authority. Are you brand new? No one's tried you. Everyone's going to be skeptical. How can you punch up the believability that you can do what you say that you can do? So, 14 years, we've done over 550 homes. We're the #1 home builder in XYZ area. We have over 700 reviews on Google and Facebook, etc. Next, big claim and preemptive objections. So, whatever your claim is, we can build we can have your kitchen ready in 2 weeks. We can have your bathroom ready in 7 days. Crazy things like that. Preemptive objections. So it could be, we've got financing available for 24 months interest free. Again, this all can be handled in establishing the authority too. Also, you need to prove a system or prove that it works. We've spoken about that with the establishing of the authority, but here you can show pictures of completed projects. You can also show any little video testimonial, a quick little snippet. You can also show reviews on both Google, Facebook, etc. And this also ties into build third-party credibility as well. Again, next stage is preempting objections. So the typical objections, how long, how much is it going to cost, so on and so forth. All the typical kind of sales objections that you generally get. Restate the big promise. Present the scarce opportunity. So home builders are generally pretty easy. If you're a custom home builder, for that matter, because you might only be handling, 20 projects a year, 40 projects a year. So, that's the limitation. You could only take on a XYZ number of consultations. There's plenty of different ways to build scarcity. Proof is really, really important here, because you are dealing with such an expensive service. So often it's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and at times millions of dollars. A lot of time goes into these projects as well. So proof is really, really key. Future pacing is important. So it'd be like at the end of your new home build, you'll have a place where you'll be able to build family memories that will last you a lifetime, for the rest of your family's life. So you're trying to place them into the future and attach that to your service. Next, you're just transitioning to the offer. There's a couple of really simple ways to do that. Risk reversals, guarantees, warranties, things of that nature. The call to action, you got to tell people what is the actual call to action. So, schedule your free consultation, schedule your free measure and quote, that kind of things. Tell them how to do it, so you can actually show them how to do it. So, you click on the landing page, you fill out the form, all done. So that can provide you a great script on how to knock out a really good Facebook ad or YouTube ad as well. So when it comes to the website, things that you need to improve. Now, the website is a bit like a castle, in my opinion. So, building a strong website, or as Warren Buffett is like building a strong business here, is you want a deep and a really big damn moat around the castle. And the moat is conversion rate. So the bigger your conversion rate, the harder it is for competitors to do what you can do, to offer what you can offer. And they can't charge the premium price that you can charge, because you've got so many leads coming through. So some of the key aspects, and I've got a whole YouTube video about improving your website, which you can check out on my channel. Do you have a value proposition? Do you speak directly to the prospect's desired outcome? Really important, that one. Should they trust you? Again, we just spoke about proof. Do you have proof? You know how good you are, but how do you tell, or better yet, how do you demonstrate and show someone who doesn't know you how good you are? An important distinction. A lot of people know how good they are, so they feel like everyone else knows. That's not the case. So there's a list of a couple of different ways that you can get that proof across. Also, you want to answer the objection of what's holding the prospect back from becoming a lead. So it's really important, because when neglected, you lose out because some person is maybe just not quite motivated enough just yet to start their kitchen journey, their bathroom journey, or their journey to start their new home build. So you could offer a bit of confidence around about you handling the entire prospect of, depending on what country you're in, like getting your permit, getting your local approval to build your new home, etc. That whole prospect about architects, engineering, etc. And then it comes down to your process can be important, particularly important, slightly more important for home builders than it is for general contractors. But still, for contractors, I think it's really strong to detail the prospect and have a bit of, I was going to say fun there, but have a bit of almost like personality and uniqueness around your process. And that uniqueness has to be valuable to the prospect. So not humor for humor's sake. If that, I didn't mean for that to come across as fun, but the prospect has to be uniquely valuable to the prospect. That's probably the better way to articulate that. And then offers, we spoke about offers. And it's just having a strong, compelling offer, almost too good to be true. And that's the nature of having a persuasive website. So a little sentence that I find really, really interesting around the element of persuasion, and something that you might refer back to when you're writing something for yourself or you're looking at something for your marketing, is that people will do anything for those people who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Ironically, we see this a lot in politics, this 27-word sentence, and I've just made some bullet points to really nail this home in an easier way. But allaying fears is a really big one. Proof is really good, and also encouraging the person. So referring back to future pacing when we're talking about that in the video script is really important. Those are probably the two biggest things. The confirming of suspicion can work really well when there's some snake oil people in an industry. So and there is in some of the contracting world. So you can confirm the suspicion, say this is not the way it goes down. A lot of people are getting ripped off because of this. This is not the way it happens. I do that with a few clients. It does cause a little bit of controversy in the local geographic area, but it works wonderfully well with the company's ability to generate leads and also convert those leads. Moving through to the email automation sequences. So I've spoken a lot about this, and we write a ton of them, and we have a lot of it templatized as well. But essentially, our longest one is 15 emails. Our shortest one, I think, is 3 or 4. It's only very, very short. But it's really important to have this all dialed in. It can all be supplemented with text message follow-up as well. But having an email nurturing sequence, especially for people who complete your quizzes, get into your email opt-in, such around your mistakes guides, how to hire XYZ contractor or home builder, all that kind of stuff. This is the really important part. Tell stories, add personality, talk about proof, talk about the pain, give solutions to problems, call to action. It's really, really important to have all this stuff dialed in. And when you do dial it in, it might seem like a lot of upfront work, but you don't have to touch it very often, and it just constantly just churns out leads for you. It's really, really nice. So last and not least is actually having a process that will convert the lead into a sale. So now we've talked about everything that we need to do in order to get the lead. So we've got traffic source, we've got landing page or website that we've spoken about, conversion. So we've spoken about the non-conversion, but what I'm doing for clients in real recent times is that I'm setting up everything for their CRM. So it's all the email follow-up, all automated, all the text message follow-up, all automated. That's reminders to the key salespeople. It's reminders to the prospect that there's a meeting coming up. It takes care of timing of follow-up, takes care of timing of pre-qualification. You need to have all this ironed out. It is substantially improving the lead to sales conversion rate. And as a quick little shameless plug, other than the setup fee, there's no ongoing costs, and I'm plugging everyone into a free CRM. So all my clients. So it's I cannot stress just how important all this setup is. And this is just a really rudimentary one that you can just implement yourself if you have your own CRM. But it's increasing the lead to conversion ratio by more than 15% for the majority of people, which is just massive when you roll this in month after month after month after month kind of thing. So it's I cannot stress, if you haven't got a CRM, get one and use it really well. It will change your life in terms of the money made. Now, with all this being said, I hope you found the video really, really valuable. Now, the best thing that you could probably do if you want to go the next step, and that is you can jump over to our website, brandhamel.com. You can scroll down, punch this button, complete the form, etc. Or you can drop down into the YouTube video description, get your free audit. I'll have a look for free, no cost, and I'll provide you with a private, secure video about your Google ads, how to get more from it, your Facebook ads, how to get more from it, in terms of leads, lower costs, etc., how to improve your landing pages, emails if you've got them all set up as well. I'll do all that for free. All you have to do is scroll down to that comment section below and press that free audit link and fill in the form, and I'll take care of that generally within 3 days. So it's pretty quick considering what goes into it. So it's a pretty decent offer. If you don't want it, don't click it. So with that being said, I hope you found the video really helpful. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, guys.